Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So Elon shared a post from Alexander saying it's ridiculous how they have robotaxis in Austin without any driver, yet my Tesla here in Sweden is not even allowed to change lanes on the highway without me confirming with the turn signal, which I think is a great reminder of the status of FSD or lack thereof across the EU and how people think about Tesla's autonomous driving technology. I'm seeing more and more anecdotes that people outside of the Tesla bubble largely have no clue how advanced Tesla's FSD actually is. Elon said, waiting for Dutch authorities and then the EU to approve. Very frustrating and hurts the safety of people in Europe, as driving with advanced autopilot on results in 4 times fewer injuries. Please ask your governing authorities to accelerate making Tesla safer in Europe. Now, why Dutch authorities first? Well, we know that Tesla is already actively testing FSD in the Netherlands, including on some streets in Amsterdam. And the Netherlands actually has a lot of regulatory expertise. You may remember us talking about that Article 39 exemption under a specific EU regulation 2018, as it sounded like Tesla was going to pursue that path to try to get temporary deployment of FSD in the region, but we really haven't heard anything about that since. But it's in the Netherlands where the RDW is, which is Netherlands Vehicle Authority. So that is actually Tesla's primary type approval authority in the EU. So Tesla has been coordinating with the RDW to validate its systems like FSD, which will ultimately help it through compliance with EU regulations. So the RDW is pretty well respected. So once you get approval there, it does carry pretty significant weight across the EU and even the UNECE. So whenever the RDW grants approval to FSD, it'll then present that certification to the EU, which can then authorize the system for use in most EU member states. For now, no updated timeline or expectation was given. This map was shared by Bloomberg with a few streets that are highlighted in Austin where Tesla's robotaxis have been testing. But to be clear, Tesla has been doing testing on smaller neighborhood streets as well. It's not exclusive to the roads highlighted in pink, it's just those are the main ones. I just thought if any of you are in the area or plan to travel there over the next few months, maybe you want to screenshot this to help navigate where you want to go. Bloomberg also said that Waymo's sensor suite costs $9,300 per car, which would make the math a little difficult to get to $180,000 of tech per vehicle, because as we know, a Jaguar I-Pace does not cost $170,000. So which number is wrong and by how much? Because I don't think both of these statistics can be correct. And you would think if there was that much misinformation about the price of one Waymo vehicle, they would come out and correct it, even if they don't give the exact number, at least directionally correct the narrative. But I haven't seen any of that. So how much the Waymo sensor suite costs and then how much it is to actually install it, we still don't know. Personally, I would treat them all as loose estimates, not really numbers that I would use to run any analysis. The New York Times said that Elon called Trump this Monday night, and apparently they talked. This was after Elon spoke to JD Vance on the phone Friday of last week about a path to a possible truce between the two. What exactly was said on the call between Elon and Trump was not shared. But fast forward to today, and Elon said, "I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week. They went too far." So Elon continuing to show more remorse, both behind the scenes with Trump offline and publicly to everybody that watched this unfold. And today, Trump said that it was very nice that Elon publicly apologized for those posts. He said, "I thought it was very nice that he did that." Trump was also asked if he could forgive Elon, to which he said, "I guess I could."
You know, it is what it is that happens. Things like that happen. I don't blame him for anything. I was a little disappointed.
Could you reconcile?
Say it?
Could you reconcile with him, do you think? Could you forgive him?
I guess I could, but, you know, we have to straighten out the country.
Carolyn Levitt said the president acknowledged the statement Elon put out this morning, and he's appreciative of it. She said she was not aware of any efforts to review Elon's contracts with the federal government. A quick aside, I think it's funny when people report it like this. They say there's no effort to currently review Elon or Tesla's governmental contracts. Well, if they were, they'd really be wasting their time when it comes to Tesla, because Tesla doesn't have any governmental contracts. And no, EV and energy incentives are not government contracts in the traditional sense. SpaceX has government contracts, but Tesla does not. Has Tesla in years past? Yes, but they were very minor. But present day, Tesla does not have any government contracts. So based on all of the publicly available information, it really does feel like this feud is mostly in the past, and the outcome is one of the better ones we could imagine from where things were last Thursday. I have no concerns right now about Trump or the administration targeting Tesla or Elon or even SpaceX in any particular way right now. And as I've said before, even if Trump and Elon don't become best friends again anytime soon, having that distance isn't going to be the worst thing when it comes to Tesla's brand. I think most of us would agree less political affiliation from Tesla would probably be a good thing for now. So everybody has to do it on their own time, but I think we can all exhale from this one and move on. And if Trump and Elon have largely forgiven each other, then we can forgive them too. You know how Elon has a few alternative IDs online? Kekius Maximus, Gorklin Rust, and so on. Well, he's also recommended using a VPN in the past a few times. And one of those, Surfshark, who does sponsor the channel, has an alternate ID feature to protect your online identity, which in 2025 really is of the utmost importance if you look at any of the data. With Surfshark VPN, you can easily have a different name, number, email, and address instead of giving out your real identity. As someone that literally has hundreds of logins and passwords for different accounts, this feature is such a beautiful thing. That's because most of these sites don't need my real info, I just need an account to use the site. So not only has Surfshark made that process incredibly easy, but Surfshark encrypts or scrambles your online activity so no one, not even your ISP, can see what you're doing. And look, even if you're not doing weird stuff, you'll still want privacy for your family because everyone and their brother are tracking us nowadays. And speaking of family, one Surfshark account will give you access on an unlimited number of devices, so everything and everyone can be protected. If you'd like to support the work I do here, you can go to surfshark.com/electrified or use code electrified at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN for free. We got the weekly number for Tesla China. It was 8,600 comparing to the same week in quarter one. That number was 13,800. So quarter over quarter, Tesla China is now down 4%. Week 10 of quarter 2 last year was 12,000. So now year over year, Tesla China is now down 22.2%. And zooming out to the year-to-date figure, Tesla China is down 8.3%. The breakdown for the week, 2,600 Model 3 and 6,000 Model Y. So it wasn't a great reading, but there was an annual festival in China that happened from May 31st to June 2nd. And many people were traveling and taking the opportunity to have a short holiday. So perhaps a sluggish recovery from the holiday, we'll keep an eye on it. You might be able to guess, but if there was a number that I think is worth tracking, it would be this year-over-year figure. As I've been saying, I'll be watching to see if Tesla can recover from the Q1 changeover to the new Y throughout Q3 and Q4. Over in the UK, the Labour Party has been pushing forward a new pilot program for autonomous vehicles. These self-driving trials are set to start in 2026, and they said these self-driving cars would be without a safety driver and could be available for people to ride in by booking a trip through popular ride-hailing apps. The government is pushing to fast-track these self-driving pilots in the spring of 2026. Companies will be able to operate small-scale taxi and bus-like services with a safety driver. To clarify, they would start with a safety driver with the potential to remove the driver later in the year. They said this will act as the precursor to the wider rollout of such vehicle tech before the Automated Vehicle Act becomes law in the second half of 2027. The Technology Secretary backed the use of this new self-driving tech, saying the UK cannot afford to take a back seat on AI. So they're basically moving this timeline up roughly 1 year. They specifically called out companies like Wave and Oxa that have been at the forefront of developing this technology. As it stands now, Tesla's FSD is not available for public use in the UK. That's because they have it classified as Level 2, which has been explicitly blocked by the Department of Transportation. At this point, it is not yet clear to me how Tesla's FSD would fit into this new pilot program in the UK. I'm sure we'll get clarity in the months ahead, but at least for now, it's good to see the UK from a high level moving to support autonomous driving, even from a general standpoint, faster. Tesla's Megapack account said congrats to the team in Lathrop on building the 15,000th Megapack 2 XL. So 15,000 times about 4 megawatt hours per Megapack is 60,000 megawatt hours produced, divided by 1,000 to convert to gigawatt hours would be 60 gigawatt hours produced. And we know the annual production capacity of Lathrop is 40 gigawatt hours or 10,000 megapacks. But we can actually take this one step further to get an idea of what the current run rate actually is, which is a far more important number. That's because November 4th of last year, the Megapack account was celebrating number 10,000, which means there was 218 days between those two dates. So 5,000 divided by 218 days, just assuming they produced every single day, would be 22.9 megapacks per day. So we'll just round that up to 23. And from there, if we take the 10,000 unit annual capacity divided by 365 days, that would be a theoretical production capacity of about 27 per day. Again, that's assuming 100% uptime, but just to keep apples to apples. So, over the past 7 months, Tesla has been making about 23 megapacks per day when their daily capacity is 27. Meaning, just back of the napkin math, not analysis, the factory is operating at roughly 85% of capacity. And if you take that calculated run rate of 23 per day times 365 days in the year times $1 million per each megapack sale, that's an annual revenue of roughly $8.4 billion. And if you slap a conservative gross margin on that of 20%, that's $1.7 billion in profit per year. So yeah, it's safe to say that things are progressing quite well with Tesla Energy. However, it's not all roses for the industry, as we have a US-based company, Powin, that was one of the bigger suppliers for some batteries in Australia, that just filed for bankruptcy. They said Powin is navigating a period of significant financial challenge reflective of ongoing headwinds in the broader energy storage industry. These challenges have been compounded by recent tariff developments that have added cost and complexity to the company's operations and ongoing uncertainty surrounding the investment tax credit. I'll say it again, when this investment tax credit goes away, which is looking likely for Tesla as soon as 2026, Tesla's profitability on the energy side is likely to take a material hit. Now, how much of that will be offset with the Megafactory in Shanghai scaling up, and we'll see how Tesla wants to handle the pricing of the Megapack. But I just want to get it out there, this is absolutely a headwind for Tesla's energy business over the next 12 to 18 months. My guess is even if Elon and the Tesla team were asked about this ITC going away, they would just say the business model is not reliant on tax credits to survive, which can also be true, but it doesn't mean that losing it won't be material. Morgan Stanley is now saying the clash between Trump and Elon was likely calculated. The only reason I'm bringing this up is to ask you guys, after everything, where do you currently land? Just let me know in the comments, staged or not. For me, if I had to pick right now, I would still be going with not. And on that point, when it comes to forgiving Elon Trump, however you view this situation, I want you to hear this interview from Tallulah Riley, somebody that knows Elon better than most.
He feels with incredible purity the emotion that he is feeling at the time, whatever that emotion is. He feels things very, very deeply. So, I've heard it said that he's cold and emotionless, and that could not be further from the truth. He is the most emotional person I know. One of the things I remember really early on is we'd gone to the cinema and we were watching some comedy, and Elon found the film so funny that he literally fell on the floor and was like rolling around, holding his tummy, laughing. And everyone else in the cinema was looking at us like, what the hell is going on over there? And I was sort of like, no, come on, get up off the floor. But he was just enraptured by what was on screen, and he was feeling it. And he feels things. And, if he feels anger, it's there. Anything, it goes deep.
I just think it's a timely reminder of the person that Elon is. In France right now, all I can say is here we go again. We have 10 people part of a lawsuit suing Tesla. Reason being, they don't want their leased cars anymore because Tesla now feels like a symbol of extreme right politics. They say Tesla is linked with Elon's political views and actions, which makes them uncomfortable driving the cars. The customers are asking the Paris Commercial Court to end their lease contracts early and pay back their legal costs. On X, Adon Guajardo got the first video of one of these robotaxis in Austin at night. So clearly there was somebody in the passenger seat, at least for this first shot, but still cool to see. Right now in the US for the new Model Y, Tesla's offering 1.99% APR financing. That ends June 16th for the all-wheel drive and June 30th for the rear-wheel drive. Jeff Kilberg, who runs an asset management company in Chicago, said he had to try it for himself. He experienced FSD for the very first time, and his Model Y drove 150 miles each way. Various ramps, stoplights, and stop signs, remarkable and truly impressive technology that's a total game changer. Butts in seats trying the technology and getting converted, who would have thunk it? Tesla is now bringing back the Tesla Vision contest 8 years later, so they did run this back in 2017. Now, to commemorate launching deliveries of the new Model Y in all continents where Tesla operates, they're holding another video contest. I will have the page linked below with more information if you're interested, but the grand prize winner will get a Model Y vehicle and an all expenses paid trip to Giga Texas for a private tour. And second and third place will also get that all expense paid trip to Giga Texas. Your submission needs to be entered by July 17th this year. And the winner from 2017, MKBHD, here's his video. So yeah, credit where it's due. Pretty awesome video. We'll have to wait and see what develops from this, but Trump did just sign 3 executive orders, and they cover drones, flying cars, and supersonics. The executive orders will create a pilot program testing flying cars, also known as eVTOLs. I think Tesla's plate is a little full right now, but it'll be interesting to see how Elon comments on this over the next 6 to 12 months. As expected, also today, Trump is going to sign a few different resolutions, one of which will be revoking California's ability to set its own stricter emission standards. For what it's worth, California's AG has promised to fight the decision, saying that he plans to sue once Trump signs the resolutions. And importantly, the revocations would also impact a dozen other blue states that have adopted the rules, although some, like Maryland and Vermont, have moved to delay implementation of them. What does this mean? Well, more lax emission standards in California and a few other states as well will likely translate to Tesla selling less ZEV credits. Now, to what degree, it's not clear, but just something to keep in the back of your mind over the next 12 to 18 months. In theory, the way this is set to go would mean Tesla could lose some of that ZEV credit revenue as soon as the back half of this year, but don't forget, this is going to be challenged in court, so that could delay the whole process. GM just said its next-gen Chevy Bolt will enter production later this year. Not only that, but they're hinting at another next-gen affordable EV to be built alongside the Bolt in Kansas. GM said it'll invest about $4 billion into 3 factories over the next 2 years, expanding production of both gas-powered and electric vehicles in the US. So far, there are no other meaningful details on this other, more affordable EV from GM. Tesla stock closed the day at $326.43, up 0.1%, while the NDX was down 0.37%. The volume was 5% above the average. Don't forget, if you want to take Elon's advice, check out Surfshark linked below. Take advantage of those 4 free months. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video. If you did, you can find me on X linked below. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.